listen.
Never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
We know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
We talk about it every day.
Getting on baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to wait in line for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
It's another Wasabi hot take. Thank you, Wasabi Hot Cloud Storage, Wasabi Technologies, for allowing us to vent every single week, usually on Thursdays, and that's what we're doing today. And I am venting about the art of trading in June. I love this conversation. I've asked GMs about it. Just asked Brendan Gomes about it, the Dodgers GM, about how difficult it is and that dynamic. But once a year, usually we get one that's pretty good and pretty impactful. Let's call it, today is the Carlos Santana day, or tomorrow is Steve Pearce day. You may know them as trades that were made in June. Also, you may know them as trades that made an enormous difference in the past of their teams that they traded for their services. So it doesn't happen a ton. So when it happens, we take note of it. And we always love it. We loved it last year, right? When you have on June 30th, Aroldis Chapman going from the Kansas City Royals to the Texas Rangers for a guy named Cole Reagans. So there's so much about that trade in particular that it touches all the bases when it comes to talking about these June trades. Because, again, June 30th, well before the deadline, Chris Young wants to send a message. We're in it to win it. We need bullpen help. We're taking on water a little bit in terms of relief pitching. We're going to go get this guy who's a closer. We're going to give up a guy, former first-round pick, Cole Reagans, maybe underperformed a little bit, but still has value. This is important to us, so we are willing to do that. Now, end result, flash forward. Obviously, the Texas Rangers won the World Series. There you go. Stop and start. Whatever happened, Aroldis Chapman helped. Did he close out the World Series? No. Was he the pitcher at the end of the season that they envisioned? Maybe not, but he contributed and it helped. They won the World Series. Maybe they don't even make the postseason without Aroldis Chapman. That's the takeaway. Conversely, you give up because you made a June trade. You gave up a lot. And this is the problem with making June trades. You are always going to overpay. You're almost always going to overpay, or at least the perception of overpaying. And in this case, they got Cole Reagans, who in 29 starts for the Royals since that trade has a 2.86 ERA. Would the Rangers do it again? They won the World Series. Anytime you win the World Series, I'm sorry, conversation changes. But it's understandably a little bit painful because how good Cole Reagans has become. All right, June 30th. That was June 30th. We have plenty of other examples. I'll go through some of them. June 4th, 2016. James Shields goes from the White Sox to the Padres. Now, obviously, you look at that season, no World Series wins, but you're going for it, right? James Shields, veteran guy who is going to stabilize rotation. You give up 17-year-old guy named Fernando Tatis Jr. Well, again, this is what happens when it comes to June trades. That was June 4th, 2016. You got painful. You tried to make a run at it, and you had to give up a young player, which became a really, really good player. I don't know if you know this, Fernando Tatis Jr. All right, so 2016, another one, June 19th. Chris Taylor goes from Seattle to the Dodgers. Now, Chris Taylor was really, really underperforming. This was sort of an under-the-radar thing, but it also tells you or shows that little moves in June can go a long way. Back on June 24th, 2004, Carlos Beltran goes from the Royals to Houston and catches fire in the postseason. It was a great trade for Houston. June, we talk about Carlos Santana Day. June 27th, which as we sit here, as we tape this, as we drop this, this is the day. June 27th, 2022, Carlos Santana goes to the Mariners. Jerry Dipoto trades for Carlos Santana. The Mariners go on to win 17 of 18 games. 17 of 18 games. Talk about a move that actually worked. And a lot of times you'll have GMs or decision makers, we can't make that move, it's too early, the overpaying or whatever it is. It's about reading the room. Again, we had Brandon Gomes on. He's talking about the importance of reading the room, of when it's important to get uncomfortable because you know you're at fork in the road in late June, a month before the deadline. That was a case there. Another case, June 28th, Steve Pearce, the Steve Pearce Day, 2018 for the Red Sox. They make the move for Santiago Espinal, minor leaguer, who actually became an all-star. I mean, he was an all-star, but he wasn't. I don't think it was one of these things where it damaged the Red Sox future by trading him. After that deal, after they initially lost Pearce's first game, the Red Sox went on to go 33-8. Once again, Dave Dombrowski, he saw what they needed. They needed a right-handed bat to play first base. They didn't want to be taking on water heading into the deadline. Let it be said, let it be done. They get Steve Pearce. Another one, June 29th, as we're going through June, David Justice. June 29th, 2000, David Justice goes from Cleveland to the Yankees. The Yankees went on to do great things that year. And, by the way, right after that trade, they went 22-10. So the moral of the story here is that June trades can really, really be important. Whether they're to help you get to the finish line, to get in position to go on a postseason run, as really was the case with the Chapman trade last year, or if it's just to be the impetus to do what you need to do to win it all, to overcome the other behemoths that you're going up against, that you're going to be going up against to win a World Series. June can be very, very impactful, but as he said, there's a couple problems. There's a couple problems with the dynamics, why June trades aren't made a bunch, and particularly this year, why really we haven't seen a bunch of June trades. Actually, the early season trade this year, so far as we sit here, and again, June isn't over. Maybe the next couple of days we'll see something, and this hot take will be even hotter. But you go back to May 4th of this year, the Luis Arraez trade, going from the Marlins to the Padres, and I think you got to give A.J. Preller some credit. Since then, they're 4 games over 500. I mean, they haven't run away with anything, but they're a playoff team right now. Arraez has been really, really good, playing a lot of first base, filled a gap for them. He's been good. He's been exactly what they wanted, a guy who's going to hit for a high average, and that's what he's done with the Padres. So you give them credit. You give Preller credit. I know that everyone say, well, he's going for it. He's absolutely trying to save his job, and they have to win. And, well, whatever, man. Like, they got a good player. They're in the playoffs right now, and so be it. That's the price you pay. So I'll come back to it. Why aren't more trades like this done in June? And why might we not see any deals to the end of June this year? I don't know. Again, maybe we will. But I'm going to go off of for a third time, my conversation with Brandon Gomes. Some of the stuff that we talked about. Go check that out because we talked about trade deadline. One of the reasons is because every other teams are still perceived to be in it, although we're starting to see some separation. I will give you the teams that are more than 5 games out of a wild card right now, because I feel like if you're more than 5 games out of the wild card right now, you're not feeling too good about things, and you're probably preparing to sell at the deadlines. All right, those teams are Tigers, Rangers, Blue Jays, Angels, Athletics, White Sox, and only 2 teams in the National League, Marlins and Rockies. Maybe some of those teams, especially the teams like, say, the Rangers, who invested heavily in their product, in their roster. I have Max Scherzer coming back and all of that. Maybe they feel a little bit different than these other teams that are hanging around outside of 5 games out of a wild card. So that's the problem. Still not a ton of teams, and it's definitely, absolutely still a seller's market. All right, another problem, and this goes across the board with all trades these days, whether it's June, whether it's July. More and more teams with the analytics, with the information, they're looking at these players the same way. So it's hard to get over on teams, maybe like you did before, with just excellent scouting, vibes, experience, whatever it is. But a lot of these players who are in high demand, people might not even understand why they are in high demand, but they are in high demand because teams say, look, I see what's under the hood when it comes to that player. And it's not only what one team sees under the hood with that player, it's 20 teams sees that same engine, whatever is in that car. They're seeing the same thing. They have the same diagnostics. All of them. And that's the problem. So nobody's getting over on anybody when you say, I really don't, the Moneyball thing. I don't know why I like him. I just like him. And well, when someone likes a player, they know usually why they like a player. So you'd have to give up something. So they're all looking at these players the same way. And that really hits a roadblock when it comes to doing these deals. But at the end of the day, as we sit here in late June on Carlos Santana Day, on the eve of Steve Pearce Day, 3 days away from Aroldis Chapman Day, we hope that somebody makes a June trade because, number one, we can reference this next year when we talk about June trades. And number two, it gets the blood boiling when it really comes to the trade deadline talk. And believe me, we love some good trade deadline talk. All right. Once again, thank you, Wasabi Hot Cloud Storage, Wasabi Technologies, for allowing us to give you another Wasabi Hot Take.